Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
The forefathers of this great country, the United States of America, had a lot of insight, and they could look into the future and see a lot of the problems. Thomas Jefferson said these words: "A government big enough to give you everything you want is strong enough to take everything you have." Amen. Here comes Kate Smith and God Bless America, followed by a Patriot with our Pledge of Allegiance. Come on, we need a pledger this morning. Call in. Good morning. Oh, I love that song and the way that lady sings it. Thank you very much, Kate Smith. God bless America. Good morning, everybody. I'm Zeb Bell, Zeb at the Ranch, with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you with a big spring tire sale going on right now, and also including some of our great advertisers like Western Way Services, always at your disposal. Call them and get on the route service this morning at 734-6969. Let's go to the phones and have our Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
How are you?
I'm finer than a frog hair split 4 ways.
No, that's pretty lean, pretty lean. Go ahead, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I have a feeling that with some of the stories I have coming up in a little bit, you're going to call back. So keep your hand on your telephone. Good morning, Doug. Thanks.
You betcha.
All right. Let's go right now to the weather. Let's see what it's going to do.
We are still in that flood watch. It is going to be in effect through this afternoon, and wind is going to be a factor for today. So here is your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch. Wind out of the west right around 20 miles an hour. We are expecting some partly cloudy skies for today. High 54 tonight, low of 32. Tomorrow the winds will continue. They're dying down to about 13 miles an hour out of the south. Partly cloudy skies, high of 60, overnight low of 41. Pretty much the same for Saturday. Still going to be on the windy side, partly to mostly cloudy skies, high of 55, overnight low of 33. As we make our way into Sunday, mostly sunny skies, close to 60 with an overnight low in the low 40s. And then for Monday, we do have a 70% chance of rain showers in the forecast, mostly cloudy skies, and a high of 53. That is your weather for Zeb at the Ranch.
All right, Gina, thank you very much. And right now it's time for my buddy Merv May. Come on in here for a minute.
All right, hey, good set of steer calves there, here to get all our 31, 1, 31.
Oh, that's the chant of the world's best auctioneer at the Burley Livestock Sale Yard, Merv May, along with Cade Rogge and Lance Udy at 1100 Occidental Avenue in Burley. And the big sale is today. They're going to be starting at about 10:45 this morning, Burley Livestock Sale Yard, the sale that works for you. Talked to Cade yesterday, and he said they're going to have a good run of butcher cows and Holstein steers. P-Bar S Dairy at Malda's going to bring in 35 head of Holstein steers. Ida Gold Dairy bringing in 40 head of Holstein steers. David Bell, 45 head of yearlings. CL Simper up at Tetonia, 140 head of yearlings. And cattle also coming in from Mark Kunzler and David Morris. And Bruce Hammonds is bringing in 35 head of calves. Skip Owens bringing in 15 head of calvy cows. And sale time is at 10:45 this morning at the Burley Livestock Livestock Sale Yard, 1100 Occidental Avenue in Burley. The number to call for information, 678-9411. Merv, sell those steers.
All right, he gets the steer calves there here to get all the 31, 1.5, 31, 1.5, and 32, 2.5, 3.5, 134, 4.5, and 5.5, 5.5, 135, 50, 135, and a selling $1.35. Zeb Bell gets bottom.
No, I tell you what, Merv, thank you very, very much, and we appreciate them being on our program every week. Burley Livestock Sale Yard. We have got a lot of news this morning, and we're going to be talking about college campuses and how they've turned into properties of thugs and threats. And we're going to talk about that absolutely terrible ISIS Muslim attack in London yesterday, and also some information that came out by Congressman Devin Nunes of California yesterday regarding that maybe Trump was right about the wiretapping and other things. So stay tuned and give us a call. We'd love to hear from you. Right now, I want to remind you about Denny's Restaurant. America's Diner. I love the people and I love the food. Great menu choices. And that's, of course, America's Diner at 611 Overland in Burley. And another location at 291 Pole Line Road in Twin Falls. And honestly, if you want to really take somebody out and have them enjoy a delicious, sizzling skillet meal, or all the different kinds of buttermilk pancake breakfasts. Oh, my goodness. You're going to love it. I know you will at Denny's Restaurant. 611 Overland in Burley, America's Diner, and the home of Zeb's Lunch Bunch. Absolutely great people. And by the way, too, our thanks go out to Ramsey Heating and Electric. I really want to say thank you for all they've done for us over the many, many years. And all your heating, all your cooling, all your electrical needs, and they are the best. Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. They unlock the doors at 7:30 in the morning till 5 Monday through Friday, and they will serve you. Stop over and say howdy to my good friends. Rita's going to be on the air with us later on this morning at Ramsey Heating and Electric, 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley, providing warm winters and cool summers. I can't believe, and I listened to a young lady this morning that solidified my fears about college and university campuses. But I can't believe that college campuses have turned into properties of thugs and threats. If you are conservative, if you believe in conservative values, family values, Christian values, and support much of which this administration is trying to do, you will be cursed, you will be spat on, and you will receive death threats. In America? Yeah. Going to school? Yeah. At St. Olaf College in Minnesota, and I'm very familiar with this college. A lot of my friends, when I was going to the University of Minnesota up there and Brown Institute in Minneapolis, they went to St. Olaf's. And it's just that way. And a lady was on television this morning, and she's, I think, the vice president of the Student Conservative Affairs for the college campus at St. Olaf, and she was saying that the death threats given to students while they're in class, if they are found to be conservative. And it's getting worse every day. Conservatives, and I mean this, and I want your discussion on this morning. And again, I apologize for that throat. Spring of the year, I can't help it. Conservatives need to speak up and speak out. You know, why do we sit back and say, well, oh, gee, I don't want to make any waves. I don't want to be a problem. I'll just let them say and do what they wish. And I'll just sit here and hope that, maybe things will get better. How are things going to get better if you, as a conservative, you, as a person of family values, stick your head in the sand and don't say anything? And I think, honestly, now is the time more than ever before, and I know my critics out there in the audience are going, oh, well, you're just one of those right-wingers that you just want your way, and that's the highway. No, I don't. We need comparable thought on various issues. But you know what? The left only wants to curse, spit, burn, and cause trouble. We need to speak up and show no fear. We need to speak up and never step around or step backwards. If that's the case, then you need to learn how to step over. We have got to be proud. We have to be very vocal in our message and not timid anymore. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I don't know how later on this morning at 10:30 is going to go. Now, that is a little bit of a tease, I know. I've got a guy coming on the air by the name of Jonathan Harris. I do not know Jonathan Harris. I do know a little bit about him. He is a millennial, and he is a liberal. And I went through a service that lines up guests for various talk shows and everything, and this lady said, well, Zeb, you're really a conservative talk show. Do you want this person on your program? And I said, yes. Yes, I do. Because I want to find out if he has got the backbone and the spine to come on my program. I want to find out how the millennials think, why they say what they say, and why they do things like they do. And we're going to find that out at 10:30 this morning. Barry Equipment and Rental, locations in Jerome, South Lincoln and Jerome, and 465 Addison Avenue West in Twin Falls, and, of course, 159, I bit my tongue again, 159 West Highway 30 in Burley. They have all the equipment you need to get the job done right. Now, they've got the Walker mowers. Holy cow, can you believe how that grass is greening up and growing out there? Well, get the Walker mowers, 0% interest for 48 months, and use what the pros use. Oh, my goodness. And they've got all the Bobcat excavators. They've got all the equipment rentals. They've got all the retail equipment sales at Barry Equipment and Rental. Jerome, Twin Falls, and 159 West Highway 30 in Burley. You stop in and see them today. And, oh, yes, I've got to do a little bit of bragging. It's never bragging when it's fact, okay? And that's about our friends at Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation. And they're located at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. And they'll help you get back to being you. And you know it's springtime, and there's a lot of work to do outside, and you're fixing the fences, and you're bending over and carrying this, and you're trying to dig those post holes. And, oh, wait a minute. Oh, your back and your shoulders, and you're so stiff you can't move. Well, you better go to Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation. They can help you with all the exercises to get you back to feeling like yourself. Excellent, excellent staff of physical therapists at Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, and the number to call, 678-1191. Okay. Your turn. Come on, give me a call. I've waited long enough, and I want to hear from you. What about it? Time for conservatives to stand up? I mean, really stand up and speak out? I do it on this program. I've got some great listeners that call almost every day, and they speak out. I want to hear from somebody that's maybe new in the audience this morning. Somebody that maybe has just moved into this area. You know, somebody that, well, they feel like, oh, man, I don't know if I want to speak out. Somebody might recognize my voice. Oh, come on. Be brave. Give me a call and let me know what your thoughts are. We've got to speak up, and this political correctness garbage has got to stop. I want to talk a little bit about what happened yesterday. Now, give me a call on any subject you want to, but I want to talk a little bit about Republican Congressman Devin Nunes of California and the study that he has been committed to as far as is investigating whether or not, and I'm just going to synopsize and give paraphrase, there was any wiretapping or illicit activities going on from the Obama administration to the new incoming administration, the Trump administration. Now, as you know, Donald Trump is not shy. That goes without saying. And as you know, Trump said a couple of weeks ago, yes, he says, I honestly believe that the Obama administration had spied on us or wiretapped, whatever word you want to insert there. Well, then most of the media absolutely in an uproar. My goodness, how could he say such a thing? And Trump is like a loose cannon speaking without having any knowledge. Yesterday, Devin Nunes walked up to the microphone and said through his investigatory studies, he has read some things that are very, very troubling to him, and we're going to be finding out a lot more in the days ahead. And maybe Trump's allegations against the Obama administration are correct. And like I said, there is much more to come. But oh, the wailing and the tearing of hair from the left and the Democrats. Why did Nunes go to the president first? Why didn't he report to the Democrats first? Why? This looks like it's a partisan cover-up. Nunes is just trying to side with the president. The list goes on and on. No matter what happens in this country, the liberal left and the Democrats are going to find fault, take it apart, tear it apart, chew it up, and spit it out. What they're doing at these nomination hearings for Neil Gorsuch for the Supreme Court almost borders on the obscene. This is a good man. This is a sharp individual. This is a good judge. I have to chuckle a little bit because when you sit there and watch these hearings, like I said yesterday, and you listen to the likes of Dianne Feinstein, who should have been put in a retirement home a long time ago, or the likes of a man that doesn't have the highest of IQs when it comes to doing anything of social value, Al Franken, and they're criticizing Neil Gorsuch. It's the most ridiculous carnival show I've ever seen in my life. Your calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Come on, let's start the ball rolling. Scott Gano, Landscaping and Sprinkler Service. Nobody is better. Call now for all your landscaping ideas. You know, he's got a lot of great ideas on how you, next year, I know it's after the fact this year, but maybe next year if we get all this snow again, how to protect your property from water going into your basement and everything with some landscaping thoughts. And also now's the time for all your trees to be trimmed, especially your fruit trees. You better call him today. 438-2485. That number again, 438-2485. Scott Gano, Landscaping and Sprinkler Service. You get a hold of him right this minute. Okay? And let's see, what else have I got to tell you here real quick. I got that done. And I need to also remind you about Redder Showcase at 2611 Overland Avenue in Burley. They're having their annual March Madness sale going on at Redder Showcase right now. Come on in, and you'll find great bargains on all the appliances and the furniture, and the Serta mattresses are on sale. On sale they are. 12 months, same as cash. Can't beat that deal with a baseball bat. You better get in there today. Redder Showcase, 2611 Overland in Burley. Great big March Madness sale. All right, now it's your turn. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Come on, give me a jingle. The ISIS-inspired or maybe even coordinated Muslim attack in London yesterday by one absolute deviant left, and there was quite a bit of discrepancy on this. Quite a bit of discrepancy on the number of people that died in the attack and the number of people injured. If you were following this story like I was yesterday, at one point they said 5 people had died and 40 people injured, and then the numbers kept changing, and they said, well, 3 people had died, and then there was about 29 people injured, and this morning some reports even came out and said 4 people had died and 30 people injured. All in all, it was a horrific happenstance of terrorism with a car and a knife. Now, you're saying to yourself, well, gee, it wasn't a gun, it wasn't a machine gun, it wasn't a bazooka, it wasn't a bomb, but the new choosing of weapons, if you will, by ISIS, going to automobiles, i.e. what happened over in Germany, you know, with the car, and then over in France with the truck, and we're talking about various other locations where they've used automobiles and knives. Seems to be the modus operandi now. This heinous killer, this Muslim attacker, ran over people at a high rate of speed on the bridge in London, and many people had to literally jump over the bridge into the water. One woman was hit so hard she flew over the railing of the bridge into the water, and it was questionable when I turned on the news this morning if she was one of the still severely wounded or if she had passed away. Then this guy gets out of the car and takes a long knife and starts stabbing people in the name of Allah. Even stabbing and killing a police officer. And police officers finally shot him 3 times, I believe, and he later died. In some respects, I was almost hoping that the attacker would live and that every sort of living hell could be bestowed upon him in his remaining years here on this earth before he goes to meet his maker and really see what hell's all about. But he did die. And these attacks with cars and knives and trucks are now, according to many, many terror experts, here in this country even, very scary and to be concerned about. You can make your excuses. Anybody can make excuses, and they can condemn me for what I'm about to say, but I honestly feel this way. I know that there are people in Twin Falls that will condemn me for this, but that's all right. Their opinion doesn't bother me at all. I do not want any more of the Mideast culture here. Let me say it again just to make sure that they understand what I said. I do not want any more of the Middle Eastern culture here. I don't want any more fear for my family. I don't want them to be here and disrespect our culture. No more fear of what they want with Sharia law being imposed. And there's many, many areas of the United States where they're asking for that. No more paying out of our pockets for these Quran culture-based ideologues coming here to cause insurrection. I know that's not politically correct. That's the way I feel, and I will not change my ways. You know, the left can call me a bigot, a hate monger, whatever. They've got their coined phrases, but that's how I feel. Multiculturalism in many areas of the world has become a deadly thud. It did not work. It will not work. And it's hurting and killing people. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Maude Harrison, Audiology and Hearing Aids. Hello, Dr. Christine Pickup. How are you? It's time for everybody that's having a little bit of a hearing problem to call her at 312-0957 and get a hearing screening. Yeah, and discuss any concerns you might have about your hearing. And she is so smart when it comes to finding out the answers. Oh my goodness, she knows all about sound. She knows all about hearing and the reparations for your hearing that are available. My goodness, you better give her a call. 312-0957, located right across from the Minidoka Hospital Emergency Room, Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. Really good people. By the way, when I talk about good people, oh my goodness sakes, that gives me a chance to talk about Jeff and the whole crew over there at Magic Valley Irrigation. Oh my goodness, 44 East, 500 South of Burley. Number to call, 678-3101, 431-3101. Those are the two numbers. I know he's busy. I talked to him on the phone the other day. I said, Jeff, what are you doing? He said, man, I am so busy this time of the year. And they appreciate all the farmers getting a hold of them and looking for help with their irrigation systems. I'll tell you what, they've got the experts over there serving you. Magic Valley Irrigation, 44 East, 500 South of Burley. And the numbers again, 678-3101 or 431-3101. Magic Valley Irrigation. No, boy, they know their business and they can help you with yours. All right, gee whiz, let's have some calls. What happened to my callers this morning? Good morning. Come on, give me a jingle. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Give me a jingle. Like to hear from you about any of the subjects going on. Normally, we've already had about 10 phone calls by this time, and the lines are open. And give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. 87. Come on. Give me a call. Let's see what else have we got in the news here this morning. I was reading some of the stories and some of the letters that have been coming in to various newspapers about sanctuary cities. And in the USA Today, which is a predominantly liberal-type newspaper, I was really shocked at some of the letters that came in about sanctuary cities having their federal funding stripped and stopped. And, boy, some of these, like this one here, it's a crime to enter the United States illegally. Sanctuary cities must understand that if these individuals commit murder or other felonies, the cities have already been harboring a criminal. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yeah, good morning, Zeb. It's unbelievable that the liberal socialists in this country can't see the forest for the trees. I mean, you just look what happened over in London, England yesterday. I mean, with a vehicle just running down the street and mowing down people. And that potential is available in any city in the U.S. of A.
Yes.
And under Hillary's plan, we're going to bring in another 100,000 refugees from mostly Muslims, and their theocracy and theology is such that if we don't convert, they kill us. And of course, they're getting their 72 virgins in the process. I mean, we've got to wake up and smell the coffee that these people, this Islam, fundamental Islam, is our enemy. And it's not just, and not all Muslims are bad, but those that read the Quran and follow it, I mean, they're potential, all of them are potential terrorists. Even the figures are that 15 to 20% of those that are Muslims have that potential.
Yeah.
And so if they think they're going to get something out of it, get some notoriety, whatever, and get their virgins, all for this hate and kill theocracy that they have. I'm sorry, but we we better wake up and really smell the coffee and take a stand.
No, there's no need to say those two words in your sentence. You said, I'm sorry. No, don't ever apologize for that, because that's the general feeling by most of us that are conservative-oriented, that are concerned about our country, concerned about our culture, concerned about our values, that are being eroded away by groups of people coming into this country that want to bring in their own heritage and their own culture and denounce anything to do with us and start to form their own cancerous little groups. I don't want them here.
Well, yeah, you and me both, Zev. I just feel like at the point I can't trust any of them. I really don't know. You know, when you turn your back, and here this policeman that was knifed down didn't even have a gun on.
I know it.
I mean, how ridiculous is that? I mean, if the guy has a gun, I keep remembering the theme that the NRA should have. Remember when Harrison Ford, in the movies, he had this Arab that's flipping this sword back and forth, and he pulls his gun out and nails the guy. You know, that's the difference between a knife and a gun. If he'd had a gun, he'd still be alive today.
Yeah, but the thing is, Adrian, what happened yesterday?
That reigns, that we've got to wait until they do something, and it's just a matter of time before we have a major attack in this country, another 100 or whatever people, or maybe just 3 or 4. But we better just wake up and tell our elected officials, stop this nonsense of bringing any of these people in here and vet the ones we've already got.
That's the whole thing. Wait a minute. Let me jump in here for a minute, because that's the whole thing. These people, and there's so many of them in multiple numbers that are coming out, and they'll belittle you and I for the criticism of the vetting process. But then on the other hand, here are people that have been involved in the vetting process going on the national news and shaking their heads and wringing their hands saying, wait a minute, we do not know who most of these people are. They're not coming with any bona fide forms of knowledge as to what they've done in the past, what they're associated with, etc. We're just taking their word for it, and we've got a lot of trouble in River City, and it's self-imposed because we don't have the right vetting service.
Well, and when Pastor Sharon Hadian was here, he said they are commanded to lie, cheat, steal, whatever they needed to in order to get control. After they get control, and we're already subjugated, then they're commanded not to lie. Well, what a theocracy, for crying out loud. You know, and that's what they do. They'll lie. They don't have to tell the truth. That's part of their whole religion, or theocracy, if you want to call it. And so we're so naive, but let's just look what's been happening around the world. Europe has basically been taken over by these radical Islams, and it's not just radical. It's the fundamental Islamic people.
Yes, I agree.
Follow and read the Quran. They're commanded in many, many verses to kill us infidels if we don't convert.
I've got to run and do some commercials right now, Adrian, but I appreciate your call. Thank you, my dear friend. Take care. Good points of interest this morning.
Get hold of our elected officials and stop this nonsense.
All right, thank you. Thank you. Want to remind everybody, too, and I agree, calls are welcome. Believe me, that's what it's all about. It's your program. You call and let me know your thoughts. We very seldom, however, get anybody from the left called in. Gee, we've sure opened the door for them. Southern Idaho Women's Expo is going to be at the Best Western Burley Inn on April 13th, sponsored by the Mini-Cassia Chamber of Commerce, Idaho Central Credit Union, and Idaho Housing and Finance. And if you'd like to have your business there as part of the great big festivities so they can learn more about you, you better call for booth space registration today. 679-4793. 679-4793. Southern Idaho Women's Expo, April 13th at the Best Western Burley Inn. Also want to say thank you very much. Like I said, we had Amy on the phone the other day with the Autumn Haven Assisted Living Center. What nice people caring for other people. 924 Christian Way in Rupert. It's the only locally owned and operated assisted living facility in the Mini-Cash area, and they do so much for the residents that are there at Autumn Haven Assisted Living Center. You know, they special events, and they take them around the community to make sure that they're a part of, like, productions at the Wilson Theater or the OVAC productions, whatever, and they've got beautiful patio in the backyard. They hold barbecues outside in the summertime. Go visit and go see and go learn about Autumn Haven Assisted Living Center, 924 Christian Way in Rupert. Number to call, 436-3200. They're small compared to some, but with a bigger heart than most. All right, now it's your turn. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Give me a jingle. Well, good morning, caller. How are you?
Good morning, Zeb. It's time to start thinking about lunch. We're going to have a prime rib dinner out at the Senior Junction, the Senior Center on South Overland, noon today. Everybody's welcome. So get ready and come on out and have a prime rib dinner.
Now, Joe, I got to ask you, prime rib dinner, and what is going to be served with it? What's all the trimmings with it, Joe?
Well, we got them all. I'm not the menu guy.
Oh, I thought that was part of your job description. And
just enjoy the food.
Well, I tell you what, prime rib dinner at the Senior Junction today, and how much is it, Joe?
Well, $5 for seniors and $6 if you're not a senior, I think it's the cost.
Well, by golly, you can't beat that with a stick. That's going to be absolutely fantastic. And knowing you, you'll probably be one of the first ones going through the line.
I'm planning on it, yes.
Okay. I love your honesty. Joe, God bless you, man. Thanks so much.
I appreciate you and your show.
All right, buddy. Thank you. There is one nice man right there, Joe Taylor. I love him to death. He's a good guy, really good guy. All right, calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Come on, give me a jingle. Like to hear from you. While I'm waiting for your call that I know is coming down the pike right now, don't forget about the 45th annual Salmon Select Horse Sale and Mule Sale going on up at Salmon, Idaho at the Lemhi County Fairgrounds on April 5th through April the 8th. My goodness, are they going to have fun. Fred Snook and the crew, I mean, it starts on the 5th of April with a Ty Evans Mulemanship Clinic. And then, of course, they're going to have the next day, they're going to have a great big parade down Main Street in Salmon. And on Friday at 6, the big Salmon Select Mule Sale. And Saturday at 1, the big Salmon Select Horse Sale. And all kinds of other activities, and we're going to have Fred on the phone with us. I think this next week we're going to be talking about it. 45th Annual Salmon Select Horse and Mule Sale in Salmon, Idaho at the Lemhi County Fairgrounds, April 5th through the 8th. Don't you miss it. All right, calls are welcome, 436-2244. 1-866-927-4587. Honestly, what do you think about these cities and these communities and these mayors saying, well, no, we're going to be a sanctuary city. We're going to break federal law. We're going to break the law of the United States, and we're just going to make sure that we don't help anybody get arrested. We're going to make sure that we're a haven for, and in many cases, this is true, the illegal and the illicit. And you're going to protect them. Did you hear what the city of Los Angeles said yesterday? They are telling their city employees, their police, their firemen, etc., to resist helping ICE and allow illegals to stay in hiding. And then, of all things, the entire state of Maryland said yesterday that they were going to become a sanctuary state. This is utter chaos and absolute lawlessness. And we can't let this happen. I mean, I, as a taxpayer, I don't want these people here if they're illegal. I'm stepping on a lot of toes. I don't care about how people perceive that. I think there can be developed programs where they can come in, they can work, they can pay their taxes, and they can keep their residence in their home country. We do not need to be a sanctuary, a hiding place for all the illegals to come in, whether it's from Mexico, whether it's from Central America, or wherever. Again, at our expense. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Come on, give me a call. I want to hear from you. While I am waiting for you to give me a jingle on the landline, I want you to listen to the weather forecast. It got a little chilly out there last night. And the weather is brought to us by the Riverview Urgent Cares at 382 North Overland and Burley, and Twin Falls Urgent Care, 2392 Addison Avenue East in Twin Falls, and Jerome Urgent Care at 133 West Avenue A in Jerome. Minor emergencies, major care. They're open 7 days a week, taking care of your ows and your hurts and your little cuts and everything else. By golly, you better stop in today. The Urgent Cares. Right now, here's Gina with the weather.
We are still in that flood watch. It is going to be in effect through this afternoon, and wind is going to be a factor for today. So here is your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch. Wind out of the west right around 20 miles an hour. We are expecting some partly cloudy skies for today. High 54 tonight, low of 32. Tomorrow the winds will continue. They're dying down to about 13 miles an hour out of the south. Partly cloudy skies, high of 60, overnight low of 41. Pretty much the same for Saturday. Still going to be on the windy side. Partly to mostly cloudy skies, high of 55, overnight low of 33. As we make our way into Sunday, mostly sunny skies, close to 60 with an overnight low in the low 40s. And then for Monday, we do have a 70% chance of rain showers in the forecast, mostly cloudy skies, and a high of 53. That is your weather for Zeb at the Ranch.
I would love a forecast of where it's, 70 to 73 and sunshine and calm winds. Well, we haven't got it. But anyhow, that's the weather brought to you by the Urgent Cares. Riverview Urgent Care, 382 North Overland and Burley. Twin Falls Urgent Care, 2392 Addison Avenue East in Twin Falls. And Jerome Urgent Care, 133 West Avenue A in Jerome. Yep, it's true. Minor emergencies, major care at the Urgent Cares. Oh, come on. Give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. What do you think about everything that we've talked about here this morning? About college campuses, if you're conservative, you might get whooped on, and about possibility that what Trump said about the being wiretapped or spied upon, possibly, very possibly true from the Obama administration, and that absolutely just heinous attack on innocent people going to work, innocent people that were there as tourists over in London, and attacked by a Muslim killer with a car and a knife, and just literally mowing them down as they walked across the bridge. I mean, you think you're safe and secure. It could be in Boise. It could be in Twin Falls, out at the mall. It could be anywhere that these absolute killers use an automobile or a truck and use it for taking lives. We have to be so aware, and we have to be so careful. It can happen anywhere. And believe me, I think if we're lulled into a false sense of security, like, oh, well, it's happening over in Germany. Oh, well, it's happening over in France. Oh, well, it's happening over in London. Don't think for a minute that these kinds of things will not happen here. Caller, thank you for your call. Good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning. I want to talk about, do we need to take any more undocumented or people that we don't know anything about? I think we have a large enough population. And I think that we need to remember that the standards that we regular Americans hold are expected from us. Now, when somebody comes to our country, if they really want to be American, they show those standards from the minute they apply.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that we need to be a lot more selective because and these states that are defying other states and bringing all kinds of people in, don't worry, those people are not going to stay within the boundaries of those states, especially if they are here to do mayhem.
You know, Chris, I think the bottom line on this is that they're not assimilating. These people come over here, and actually we're kind of at fault for this because like what happens in Twin Falls, let's have these refugees come in. Let's bring more in. Oh, look at the diversity. Let's look at the multiculturalism. Oh, let's celebrate all their different foods in the city park. Let's do all this. Wait a minute. I really don't care. I want people to come here that are going to assimilate to our laws, assimilate to our Constitution, and assimilate to our value system. Or, I personally don't want them here. Do you?
Well, no, because I think that for maybe a long time in our country, the people who wanted to come to the United States that wanted to become Americans, they came here intending to become Americans and do as we did. And we've got a diversity of all kinds of cultures in our country, and we are fortunate for that. But when they come here, they bring things about their culture that they can share. And then it's usually they come for the education opportunity and to become free to start their own businesses. And when those are the people that show up on our shores and we have a chance to find out who they are and what their real desires are, then we should give them a chance to enter legally. But this coming across illegally and then hiding in the shadows, that doesn't give me a very good feeling about the fact that they came here to be one of us.
Yeah, not only that, though, but you have opened up your purse strings to these people so that they can hide, so that they can be illegal, so that they can maybe perhaps fester like an open sore and try to hurt us as a country. I don't want to pay for this anymore.
Well, who was the first one that really opened the door for this? Did we, the people, say we all voted yes? Let them all in? Let's just get them here faster and more furiously.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about you.
Most of it, when you have to sneak into somebody else's country and then hide, I'm not too sure I feel very good about your being here.
Well, I don't know about you, but I don't really like the idea that somebody breaks into my home, which in the case of what we're talking about is actually my country, and once they've broken into my home, then they demand that they're taken care of, that they get fed, and everything else, and basically are on our welfare dole. I mean, if you're a criminal, you're a criminal, and breaking into a country is illegal.
That's right, and I don't know, I'm not too sure yet, but I don't think that Trump really likes this idea either.
Well, I tell you what, I just think that after what we saw yesterday over in London, another vivid reminder that the world is not a safe place. And speaking of safe places, no place is safe. Whether it's at a movie theater, whether it's at a county fair, whether it's at any event, no place is safe. And we've always got to be looking over our shoulder. Chris, God bless you. I appreciate your...
I just think that our country needs to rethink this and remember, borders are borders for a reason.
Absolutely. Thank you for your call this morning. All right, God bless. Thank you. Nice lady right there. Hey, by the way, I want to say thank you to our Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Oh, all 7 locations. Right now, they are having a huge spring tire sale. And they always do the right thing because it matters. Absolutely at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. And whether you've got a car that you need to get new tires on to go see Aunt Martha and Uncle Fred, or whether you want to get your new tires on your SUV or your pickup because you're going to be going up in the mountains, boy, you'd just love to get away from everything. They've got all the tires for you. And including the best in brake service. The best. And along with the front end alignment, shocks and struts and batteries. But above all, service. I mean, they come at your car with a high lope, and can we help you? These are great people. Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family and Paul, Daniel on Pole Line in Twin Falls, and my buddy Randy on Overland in Burley, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. We are going to take a little break, and Wheels, in a little bit, about 2-3 minutes, I'm going to give you a call on your cell phone during the break. I need to ask you something, so stay tuned, and after the news, we'll have the Chamber of Commerce report. Oh, and away we go. Hour number 2, Zeb at the Ranch. Good morning. And, of course, we're brought to you by our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you, and our great advertisers like Western Waste Services.
From the canyons of the Snake River and all across southern Idaho, we're always at your disposal. Western Waste Services, we care about our community, our resources, and this free land. Western Waste Services is lending a hand, always at your disposal. Western Waste Services.
You know, what are you going to do about your garbage? You know, oh my goodness sakes, you're sitting there and you're going, we're new in the area and we don't know who to call. What are we going to do with all this garbage? Call Western Waste Services, always at your disposal, 734-6969. Problem solved. It's gone. It's out of there. All you need to know is that they'll take care of it. That's right. On the weekly route service, you can stand there and wave at the driver and watch your garbage. Out of the sight, out of mind. Absolutely the best people in the world. Western Waste Services, always at your disposal. Call them at 734-6969. You know, I want to also say that everybody has pets. Everybody's in the livestock business somewhat, with whether it's horses or whether they got cattle or goats or whatever the case might be. Well, Ark Animal Hospital is a mixed animal practice, meaning big or small, they love them all and they take care of them all. And if you're going to have animals, you'd better take care of them. And they at Ark Animal Hospital have warm hearts for cold noses. I love that. And they're located at 750 21st Street in Heyburn. Number to call and number to remember, 678-1177, Ark Animal Hospital. Like I said, they've got warm hearts for cold noses. Really, really good people. I think I am, pardon me for clearing my throat, a little bit of the allergies starting up this spring. I think I'm all caught up right now, and we can go to the phone line, and we have a new representative of the Minnetonka Chamber of Commerce, and it's Chris Fox. Good morning, Chris. How are you?
I am great, Zeb, and it is so good to talk to you. It's been a long time since I've been at the radio station, and it's kind of fun to reconnect. So
well,
I'm excited to even be talking with you today.
What in the world are you doing, jumping out of the boat of broadcasting and going to the Chamber of Commerce?
You know what? I don't really know at this point in time, but it seems like it's a good jump so far. So I'm really excited to be here. And it kind of makes sense because, you know, I just know everybody in the community and love the area, and so I think it's actually really going to be a good fit for me, so I'm excited.
All right, now, boy, you're jumping in right at the time that they're going to have their great big Southern Idaho Women's Expo. Maybe you would like to tell everybody more about it.
I would love to, thanks, Zeb. So coming up on April 13th, we invite everybody out. It's going to be held at the Best Western Burley Inn and Convention Center. If you get your tickets in advance, they're just $20, and of course that includes your lunch plus the two. We have one keynote speaker, and they're doing something a little different this year, so I'm excited about it. We're having a comedian come, and her name is Susan Rice, and I actually looked her up yesterday on the good old internet because you can find out anything you want. And she's super funny and very entertaining, so I think that'll be fun for everybody. Mm-hmm. And I hope that everybody will come out and enjoy that. She's going to be up in front from 2 to 3, so a little bit later in the day, but she is very talented, and we're very excited to have her come. And as I watched her on the internet, she did kind of crack me up, so I was happy about that. But I also did some research on our keynote speaker, and we're going to have the Idaho Supreme Court Justice Robin Brody speaking, and she has a great bio, and I was interested to learn that she had spent a year living in Russia teaching English before she decided to come back and get her law degree. She's a mother. She has 2 children. She was made a partner in her law firm in Twin Falls, and then the drive just got too much, and she's a Rupert girl, and so she opened her own practice in Rupert and then decided to run for the Supreme Court Justice, and she got it. And she just has a laundry list of accomplishments. So she is a great example to all of us. So we're excited to have her as well.
Now, let me ask you this, and I know you're relatively new over there, and I don't mean to put you on the spot, but if you were to give a theme or a reason as to why women should be a part of this, what would you tell them?
Oh, gosh, first of all, I would just say, and this is probably not what anybody at the Chamber wants to hear, but take a break.
There you go.
I think that, a lot of times we're just so overloaded, and we work hard, and we take care of our families, and this is just an opportunity to take a break and recharge your batteries. So I guess for me, that would be the number one thing, and I can remember having a house full of small children thinking, wow, will the madness never end? Mm-hmm. And let me reassure all of those women out there listening, it will end, and one day you'll be an empty nester and wonder how it all passed by. But the second reason, I think, is to get acquainted with your community, and sort of gives you that opportunity to get out and rub shoulders with some great people and just have a really nice time and maybe learn something. So I think all of those reasons, I guess, I would come out and enjoy it. And the $20 ticket, I find that to be a bargain of the century. If you went out to lunch with your girlfriends, you'd easily spend $10. So you're getting the $10 luncheon, in my opinion, and then all 50 vendors are going to be there. You get to hear these great ladies. So I think it's a great value, and I just think it's a time to recharge your batteries.
I like that, and also let me ask you this. I'm assuming that you're still taking booth space for businesses to represent their business in front of this great big seminar. Is that correct?
We are. In fact, we just had 2 people come in yesterday and get registered to do their booths. So definitely time is not running out on that. And we would encourage you to do it. There's just, I don't want to say thousands, but over 1,000. I mean, you'll be able to put your business out in front of lots and lots of people. So I think it's a great opportunity for businesses, small businesses, even if you're, let's say, maybe just a home-based business like, how about Avon? Maybe that's a great opportunity for you to put your card out there and put your name out there. So definitely, if you're a small business owner or if you're a big business owner, a place to put yourself in front of a large crowd. So definitely plan on that. And you can get those here at the Chamber. And, we're just in between the two cities, right across from Gosner's or the Upper Crust, so we're easy to find there at the Riverside Park.
All right, now, Chris, along with the Southern Idaho Women's Expo, there are certainly some other issues and items that I'm thinking that you want to advertise a little bit this morning. What else do you want to tell my audience this morning?
I want everybody to mark their calendars. This is a little bit out ahead, but, it's never too early to make a little plan. So June 21st, we're going to be doing the Minnecaja Scramble for Commerce. And that's a 4-person team, and I am not a golfer, so I cannot speak the lingity-lango there. But I know the spots really fill up fast, and I know that there's been several years that they've sold out. So that's something that you don't want to delay on. Also, something that's great that everybody should know about is that in the gift shop, all of the items are 50% off unless they're consignment items. The consignment items are not 50% off, but we're kind of clearing that out, getting ready for some new merchandise. So if you're like me and you shop all year for Christmas, which I know is crazy, and I shouldn't even say the Christmas word because it makes people panic, but these are great Idaho items, and we have lotions and soaps, and they're all marked that they're made here in Idaho. We have some great T-shirts that are Idaho shirts. In fact, I bought a shirt yesterday for $12, a great T-shirt. And so if you are looking for fun gifts to send for relatives that are out of the area, or just some stocking stuffers, or just for yourself, what a great time to pick up some unique Idaho gifts. So 50% off. That's a great deal.
Absolutely. You know, the problem I'm having with you this morning is that you're so shy you hardly say a word.
Well, Zeb, you know how it is in broadcasting.
I do. You know, most all of us have been vaccinated with a phonograph needle, I'll tell you that. Anyway, I love it. Anything else over there at the chamber you want to highlight this morning, real quick?
You know what? I think that's about it, and I do want to give a little plug for the Riverside Park, although that's not necessarily part of the chamber, but it is a great place to bring your kids. The walking path is beautiful. I see moms out here in their strollers. I just don't know if people are aware enough of the beauty that's just so close to us. So come and take advantage of this beautiful view of the river. Take a stroll and breathe in some fresh air. Beat the rain today. If you come this morning, I think it's going to rain this afternoon. But honestly, we just live in such a great area, and the chamber is here to help businesses thrive and grow. And if you're not a member of the chamber, we would invite you to come in and visit with us and see what the chamber really can do for you, because we do make a difference in businesses, and we want this economy to be strong here.
Absolutely.
So enjoy the river, enjoy the chamber, and just thank your lucky stars every day that you live in this beautiful area.
Now, if they want to call, or somehow, I know there's 9,375 ways to get a hold of the chamber. Tell us the most prominent ways.
All right. You can get a hold of the chamber online, obviously. You can look us up. We're just Minnecasia Chamber. And you can also call us. And we're here in the office every day from 9 to 5, and we're available at 679-4793. Let me give you that number one more time, especially if you're looking to do a vendor booth. 679-4793. And we're just easy to find right here in Hebron.
All right. Chris, welcome to the fold, and thank you very much over there at the Minnecasia Chamber of Commerce.
Well, thank you very much, Zeb, for having us on, and we hope you have a great day.
All right. Thank you very much. Nice lady, and a lot of activities are planned, especially coming up on the 13th of April with that Southern Idaho Women's Expo at the Best Western Burley Inn. We got to pay some bills. And then I want some phone calls this morning. Doggone, I get lonesome here without you folks calling in. So give me a jingle. We'll talk about anything you want to talk about. Don't forget our dear friends at Hanson Mortuary, 710 6th Street in Rupert. Joel Heward, his family, and his staff, they are some of the nicest people in the world, always serving other people. And, of course, when there's the passing of a loved one, they can help you with all the arrangements. And you don't have to go to them. They can come to you. They can go to the rural towns and churches to make sure that always you are number one. They want to serve you with the highest ethical standards with unquestioned integrity. Please remember the number 436-5636. Hanson Mortuary, 710 6th Street in Rupert. Very, very nice people. There's somebody else over in Rupert. Oh, there's a lot of good people over there, but I want to brag a little bit, if I may, about Nicole and Mad River Laser. I know that for Christmas, I had this wild, wacky idea about making up some special T-shirts for the whole family, and she did a phenomenal job over there. I guarantee you, well, they're going to be having a great big spring open house, and it's going to start tomorrow. That's right, it's going to start tomorrow, and it's going to go all the way through the 31st, and you can save money. The entire gift shop is on sale. They're located at 502 East Street in Rupert, right on the square. You couldn't miss them if you absolutely were blindfolded. So stop over and check it out, and talk to them about free engraving and free embroidery and the door prizes they're going to have at their great big spring open house at Mad River Laser, 502 East Street in Rupert. Oh, my goodness. Good people. All right, your turn. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. And you know what I'm going to do? Deanne, come on in here for a second, would you please, hon? And I think that we have Denny's gift card on my desk, and I'm going to give it away to the first person that calls me right now and has, Deanne, hand me that Denny's gift card over there. And we're going to give away a Denny's gift card and to go to Denny's America's Diner. It's right there, I think, on the desk. Thank you very much. And first person that calls in with a good subject to talk about this morning. So the lines are open. I'm bribing you. Give me a call. While I'm waiting for your call that I know is coming in, if you want the gift card, I'm not going to give it to you if you don't call in. Don't forget Let's Ride. 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the world. My goodness sakes. They've got it all. All the ATVs. Oh, my goodness, have they got ATVs over there. They've got such a floor full. Let me tell you, you're going to find what you're looking for. And, of course, they've got the best in accessories. They've got a fantastic service department. If you already have ATVs, they can get them serviced and ready to rock and ride this spring. So be sure and check it out. Let's Ride. 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the world. Open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6. Saturdays, 9 to 4, where the fun is sold. Well, good morning, caller. Who is this?
This is Casey.
Well, Casey, for heaven's sakes, you just won yourself a gift card. But now, in order to get the gift card, you got to tell me what you want to talk about this morning.
Well, I think something really important that's come up is the unmasking of the Trump transition team.
Okay, I agree with you.
That's pretty scary when you think that basically all of us are being monitored, and if somebody decides they want to come after us, they just have the right connection, and they can put out whatever we have said or whoever we've talked to for, it's just pretty scary, actually.
I'm going to say this, and you may not agree. Deanne, would you take that and put Casey's name on it for a minute? I'm going to say this, and I want to get your opinion on this. You said about the NSA and about how we're all able to be spied upon and have our basic intelligence and things that are personal to us be laid open for the rest of the world. But, I'm going to mention Michael Flynn. Michael Flynn still, in my opinion, is a really good man and a patriot to this country. And I thought what happened to him was absolutely one of the high crimes that's ever been committed. They have now dragged him through the manure pile, and I still maintain that he's a good patriot. Your thoughts?
Well, I think that's so. I mean, they're using the Russian connection in order to vilify him, but still, it's a felony what was done in order to allow that to be out into the public eye.
Okay, now,
and nobody has been punished or even acknowledged who did it yet. And the same thing has happened with the whole Trump transition team. Is the Obama administration sat and they knew what all their conversations were. They could just. It makes it pretty easy to come with opposing views if you know what the other person has already said.
My biggest fear right now is that the rift, which I think is comparable to the Grand Canyon, in this country with the liberal left, the millennials, and the socialists that want to gain more power and more prestige in our country over capitalism and conservatism, I'm so afraid that I don't see the benefit and the caring for our country that it should be over the next 4, 10, 20 years. I see a war going on between between the two ideologies, and I don't see it healing anytime soon. Your thoughts on that?
Well, that's what I feel too. I think it's going to get a lot worse because these people are so entrenched and they've gotten used to doing what they wanted. Things are starting to turn around the other direction, and they're going to fight as hard as they can because there's a lot of money involved in this. You know, when you get right down to it, that's the best way to figure it out. Just follow the money, see who's getting paid for different things that they do, or, you know, in the case of immigration, a lot of those things, it goes back to getting votes, you know, becoming the party that can never be removed from power.
Casey, did you ever in your lifetime, and pardon my interruption, but I want to make sure I get this in before we have to take a break. Did you ever in your lifetime honestly think that there would be the sanctuary cities, that there would be the push, like in Maryland, to have the entire state be a haven for lawbreakers, criminals, etc., and basically a shunning of the government trying to get them like ICE or anyone else? Did you ever think we'd come to this?
No, I could never even imagine. Even, I would say even 5 to 10 years ago, it would be unthinkable. I mean, but now it's, if you're on the other side, you're vilified. And the problem is the news media is pretty much all in the pocket of the liberals. So, you know, even Fox News, I watch them because they're the closest thing to what I feel is the real news. I was watching, I turned to CNN this morning just to see what they were talking about, and they don't mention the rape of this young girl in Maryland. They don't even talk about that. All they talk about is Trump and the Russian connection, and they even tried to turn when they were spying on the transition team in Trump Tower, they're trying to turn that into, you know, what else have the Trump people done in order to be watched like they've been watched?
Yeah.
They aren't even talking about the illegalities and the things that have gone on the other side.
Yeah, but you mentioned Fox News, and I want to make sure that your point is emphasized. Are you saying that Fox News did not carry that story about the rape of that 14-year-old girl?
No, they're the only ones that did.
Okay, good. I wanted to emphasize that.
Totally ignored it.
Right. Yeah, as a matter of fact, ABC, CBS, NBC, CNN, MSNBC, all of those networks absolutely gave zero minutes to that heinous crime because it absolutely would denigrate what should be denigrated as far as a sloppy, slovenly immigration program.
Yeah, well, they're trying to take it the other way. They just want to have open borders, and I don't care where you come from, whether you come from Central America or you come from China or wherever. We need to know who's coming in.
That's right.
Who they are and what their background is.
Well, you know, right here, Casey, and I've only got a minute left in the segment, so short answer on this, but right here locally in Twin Falls with the Refugee Center at CSI, the attitude of the Twin Falls Council and Twin Falls Mayor, and also the Times News, basically kind of giving a snicker and a sideward glance at the rest of us, me in particular, because I'm against the refugee program. I am against it, and I don't like what I'm seeing coming in here.
Well, the way it's set up, nobody knows who these people are. You don't know when they come. You don't know. We should have knowledge of those things, and we don't. In fact, some states, you know, they didn't even tell the governor that they were importing all these refugees.
That's right.
They're just there.
Well, I just want to
prepare for that.
I just want to tell you that not only was it worth the while of letting you win that breakfast and dinner card for Denny's, I enjoyed the conversation. And don't make yourself a stranger and call back again. I've enjoyed it. Thank you, Casey. I appreciate it. God bless you.
Thank you.
Thank
God
you.
Bless you.
Thank you. Nice man right there, and I appreciate his call. Right now, I also want to remind you about our friends at Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. When you think about life insurance and you think about health insurance, and retirement planning and employee benefits, you better be thinking about the pros that can help you and serve you. And that's, of course, our friends at Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. Now, the number to call, and remember, is 436-4424. 436-4424. You please call them today, make an make an appointment, and they can help and serve you. Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. Oh, my goodness, in just a minute, we're going to have the lovely Rita Ramsey on our program. And I also want to remind everybody real quick that Ag Express is looking for drivers. I've been telling you this for a couple of weeks now, and I really want you to call them. And they're looking for drivers, whether it's full or part-time positions. Retired people are welcome to put in their applications, and they'll work around your schedule, 2 or 3 days a week, whatever, and you're home every night. Absolutely. They got a great vacation plan, and they've got benefit programs. You better call them right now today. Call Dale and Paul at 438-8886, Alan in Twin Falls at 731-2495, or Russ in Burley at 431-7175. Ag Express is looking for drivers. Ag Express is looking for you. Absolutely. Right now, I'm looking for Rita Ramsey. Has anybody seen her? Good morning, good morning.
She's out to the east of you.
Oh, really? Where is she hiding?
Oh, just over here in Burleytown.
Oh, Rita, once again, where do I start with you this morning? I mean, I've got a list here about 20 different subject matters. Let's talk, first of all, about college campuses. This is really irritating to me because I saw a young lady on television this morning at about 4:30. And she was from St. Olaf College in Minnesota. And I know a lot of the students in years past that have gone to that school, but they're afraid, if they're conservatives, to be on campus because they're being cursed, they're being spat on, they're given death threats in the classes because they are conservative and the liberals are taking over. What's going on in this country anyway?
Well, it's just the same old story, and until people step up to the plate, and I'm talking about local people and parents and donors to universities, until people will start stepping up to the plate and doing something, it's just going to continue. You know, we have this problem in America of people having apathy and just saying, oh, I'll let somebody else do it, and this and that and the other, and somebody else does it, but it isn't doing what you want done. It's doing the opposite. So, you know, we have to stand up and scream and holler and make our wishes heard, you know, by our representatives and let them, you know, take the ball. But unless you have enough voices that will scream and holler and do things, nobody pays attention. So it can't just be one person, you know. I can send all the letters I want to my representatives, and if I'm the only one doing it, they'll go, oh, there's that nuisance Rita Ramsey from Burley again. Just, you know, delete and be done with it. So
let me ask you this, though, and this is kind of a touchy gray area to get involved in. I think that it's going to have to come down to a forced issue. Underline the word forced. Here's what's going on. I think a lot of kids, a lot of young adults that go to college and are paying a very high tuition rate are being cowed into running away and not saying anything because they are conservatives, and they're being told to turn the other cheek. They're being told not to stand up, not to get involved in any problem. I think that's got to end. I think, Rita, and I know you're probably going to arbitrate with me on this, but I think we almost have to have some conflict with the liberal left to put them in their place to the point where it's a give and take and not just a give. Well, your thoughts on that?
Well, I think that you're absolutely right. The thing of it is, if you were to poll Americans, you would find out that the majority of Americans are against all of that crap that they're proposing and pushing. But
Americans will not stand up and say, no, we're not going to take it anymore. I mean, this last election with Trump was part of that. People actually said, well, yeah, I'll stand up for Trump because he's not one of those politicians, and I'm tired of all of that other, crap that's happening out there, and I'm tired of politicians and everything else. So we'll vote for Trump. But all they had to do was go to the polls and vote. They didn't have to go to a meeting. They didn't have to organize. They didn't have to say, you know what, there's got to be enough of us that say we're going to do something and get it done and make our voices heard. And until that happens, I mean, that's why we're in the problem that we're in, because the majority of Americans are conservative. They want liberty. They don't want free stuff. They want to be able to go out and work and do the things that they need to do. And till you've got enough people that will actually call out the others and make it known, it's not going to happen.
I know what I would be like today on college campuses. I know that my friends, we were of a strong conservative value, family values back in the day. And I've made the statement on my program that if I were spat on or cursed or had death threats for being nothing more than a supporter of conservative values and family values, I would not step around these people. I would step over them. I think it's time that we have to have a power play to where the negatives and the naysayers and the ill will people have to be put in their place.
Well, they do, and the biggest problem with youth in college campuses is they're not informed. They don't really know what's going on, so a lot of them will sit back and say, I'll just go on a different direction instead of going past where these idiots are making fools of themselves, and they're not doing that. A lot of people in today's society, not just college kids, are ill-informed. And so they just kind of think, oh, well, if it doesn't sit on my doorstep, I guess I'm not going to have to worry about it. And that's the bad part, is you've got just a few voices that are slowly tearing away at our freedoms and liberty, and we're letting it happen.
Yeah. I want to get into this next story because, my goodness, Rita, when are we going to wake up as a nation and understand that it's not just going to happen over there? Yesterday, I watched the absolutely brutal attack created by an ISIS Muslim attacker in London, and using a car and a knife as his main sort of weapon for bloodshed and mayhem. And Rita, it's not going to end. It's only going to get worse. We're naive if we don't think it's going to happen here. Your thoughts?
No, it isn't. And the part that's really sad about it is that it takes a number of people to get killed, or something like yesterday to happen where there could have been a lot more people killed. But, you've got these people who are just bleeding heart liberals saying, no, we have to let all of those people come in. We don't need to worry about that. You're just attacking Muslims. And, the thing of it is we were listening to the radio last night, and it was the AM station. And every time they would give the news, they wouldn't say one thing about they have found somebody or they have identified him or anything else. They just kind of give a few of the details and say, that's it. And they didn't want to actually say who the person was, that he had been identified, that he was a sympathizer with ISIS, that he was a cleric, he was a radical, and all that other stuff. They didn't want to say that, and that's the part that just really makes crazy, is they decided what kind of information they were going to put out there instead of just giving the information.
Yes, and I will say this. I said it earlier this morning, if you were listening. Multiculturalism is one of the most deadly and one of the most asinine and stupid movements that has ever occurred around the world. Your thoughts?
Well, it actually is, and the reason why America became such a great place was in the early 1800s. There were people coming from all over the world, and as all of the immigrants came in, they had to prove that they were here for a reason, And then after they started coming in here really heftily, they decided, okay, we're going to have to make sure of what's going on. They got to come through Ellis Island. Once they started doing that, they had to be well. They had to be independent. There were specific things that they had to meet, the criteria of what they would have to meet so that they could come in here. And by doing that, it didn't give them any kind of a safety net. They knew they had to learn the language. They knew they would have to melt together. And and a lot of them, the reason they were leaving their countries is because they didn't like it. So why would they want to come here and set up their own country? And that's the part that's really sad, is you've got people now that come in here, and it's those who come without permission or stay without permission, is they want to change this country into their country. They don't want to come and be part of a country that's better than theirs. They want to change it back to their country. And you could ask any of them, well, why are you here? Well, I didn't like my country. The government was corrupt. I didn't like this. I didn't like that. I didn't have freedom to do this and that and the other. And it's like, so you came here so that you could have those freedoms, and yet you're trying to turn this country back into where you came from. What's wrong with this picture? And a lot of them will kind of be like, oh, yeah, I guess that's true, but it doesn't ring true enough to them to find out that in a few years this is going to be their country again, and they're going to be suffering the ways that they were suffering prior to coming here. But it's just really sad that we don't require them to come legally, and there's certain criteria that they need to meet, and they need to melt in. We can't have multiculturalism, because we will break apart as a country and we will not be able to survive it.
You know, Rita, and I'm saying this from my own personal experiences, on three different occasions at doctor's offices and some businesses, I have personally witnessed the arrogancy and the lack of respect and the lack of manners by some of these refugees in this area, thinking that because of who they are, they can step to the head of the line and get benefits and cares taken care of over and above anybody else. And I'm very offended by this.
Well, we should be. It's just too bad that the majority of our fellow citizens in Twin Falls and Boise and some of those that are having a number of refugees coming in don't say, hey, wait a minute, we're not going to put up with this. If they're going to come here, they're going to come legally. We're not going to give them all the crap that they think they're entitled to. We're not going to pay for that. But you've got politicians that think that this is just the cat's meow, and the reason is it all has to do with the big dollar sign.
Well,
it's just money. And that's why they're letting them come in here. They were Idaho was promised tons of money to the governor, to feed down through Idaho's budget and so forth. And a lot of that money individually goes to re-election campaigns for many, many politicians. It all filters that way. I've seen a breakdown of it. And so that's what it's all about. It's just about money. It's not about being safe and sovereign and having freedom and having people come here and be a part of America. It's about money and who can get the most so that they can continue with their elections.
You know, look at the news as to what's going on and listen to the news with some of these commentators like very, very liberal Kirsten Powers about a week and a half ago. She got on television and she was almost crying in trying to say how sorrowful she felt for Central American illegal aliens. It's going to be tougher for them to go through the pipeline and get here to America. Whoa, stop the bus for a minute, Gus. Central American illegal aliens, we're talking about an infestation of MS-13 members, gang members coming up through that pipeline, and it's the deadliest gang in the whole world, and she's feeling sorry for them.
Well, it's really sad when they get so washed with their opinions that they won't look at anything else. The very biggest problem that we have is these people will come in here, They want to do their thing. They want something for nothing. America has been touted to them in their countries as, man, you can just get all the free stuff. They'll take care of you, and everything will be wonderful. And I would like to have those people set up camp in her front yard and show her what it's all about, and have her start paying for all of the things that they're demanding out of her pocket individually, so that she understands that they're depending on her pocketbook to stay here, and we'll hear a new tune, I'm sure.
Yeah, well, I'm going to do a weather forecast real quick. And then I want to get into a subject that's a little bit touchy to talk about, but it's got to be talked about, and that's what happened back in that Maryland high school with 2 illegal aliens dragging a younger girl into a men's restroom and the rape. I want you to discuss that. We have got to crack down, and the law's got to prevail itself. Right now it's time for the weather, and the weather's brought to you by our friends at Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. Yes, absolutely the best in CPAs, providing accounting services to the Mini-Cache area for well over 50 years. The best of tax return preparation, tax planning, retirement planning, payroll services. 2 locations to serve you in Burley and Rupert. Remember the name and call the best. Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. And right now, here's Gina with the weather.
We are still in that flood watch. It is going to be in effect through this afternoon, and wind is going to be a factor for today. So here is your weather forecast for Zev at the Ranch. Wind out of the west right around 20 miles an hour. We are expecting some partly cloudy skies for today. High 54 tonight, low of 32. Tomorrow the winds will continue. They're dying down to about 13 miles an hour out of the south. Partly cloudy skies, high of 60, overnight low of 41. Pretty much the same for Saturday, still going to be on the windy side, partly to mostly cloudy skies, high of 55, overnight low of 33. As we make our way into Sunday, mostly sunny skies, close to 60 with an overnight low in the low 40s. And then for Monday, we do have a 70% chance of rain showers in the forecast, mostly cloudy skies, and a high of 53. That is your weather for Zev at the Ranch.
Appreciate it, Gina, and brought to you by Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. Right there in Burley and Rupert, the very best of CPAs. By the way, Leiden Crane is going to be on our program next hour, and I'm looking forward to that. Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company, bringing you the weather this hour. Rita, one of the most heinous stories, and my knuckles are white. I just would love to get my hands on those 2 vermin, illegal aliens that did this dastardly deed to this young girl. But this is nothing new. We're inviting trouble when we get these illegal aliens from other countries, be it Central America or wherever, and they're literally going into high school classes, and some of these people are 21 years of age, and they're sitting there with 13 and 14-year-olds. This is going to be a never-ending problem, Rita.
Well, it is, and in one of the articles that I was reading, it says, to make the whole story all the more outrageous, only a few days after this incident, Maryland Democrats voted to make the state a sanctuary for illegals.
Yes.
Kid was just brutally raped by an 18-year-old Guatemalan citizen in one of their schools, and this is how they respond. Maniacs. Once again, leftist policies display such abounding compassion for political useful groups, yet have none for our citizens, especially our kids. This is where our voices have to kick in. Every person who has a student at that school or any school in the surrounding area or the state should be up in arms and be going to their state capitol and just giving the politicians, the time of their life, making them understand, you are going to be out of here. You change this. This is not what we're about, and we can't put up with this. And for you to vote that this is going to be a sanctuary state is absolutely the worst thing that could happen to our citizens.
Let me ask you, and again, I go back to what I said on a previous program. One morning in the first hour, I said, and I stand behind, that illegal aliens and those that are coming into this country with the refugee program basically have more rights than you and I, as the paying taxpayers, have a right to say no. Our rights are being subdued or diminished, but their rights and even constitutional rights are afforded them more so than the people that live here.
Well, that's right. And the part that's just sad about the whole thing is that we as Americans don't get the rights, the liberty, and the freedom that we have entitled to us because we're citizens, that we're giving to other people who aren't. I mean, we sit back and we say, hey, go ahead and let them do it. And, the leftists will scream that, it's dishonest to focus on crimes of illegals and everything because there's plenty of American criminals here and rapists and so on and so on. Well, that's true. But we shouldn't be stuck with Central and South America's criminals. We're stuck with them. They ought to be gone. We ought to get them out of here. We need to find out who is coming in here. They need to be here legally. And if they are breaking the law, they need to go to jail and stay in jail and be deported and know that if they come back here, they're going to be in for the rest of their life, so they better just stay away.
But
we've got to get tough on these things, or they're just going to roll right over us, and that's what they're doing right now.
Yeah, and these countries, not to name a specific country, but countries in general that are saying to the United States, well, you got them now, we're not going to take them back. Here's my answer to that problem. You get an old bomber. Plane, B-17 or whatever. You load these people in the bomb bay doors with parachutes. You fly over and drop them back into their home country. We've got to get tough.
Well, we should. And, we should have learned back in the 90s when Castro sent all of his people, we'll let a bunch of our people come to America, and they emptied their prisons and sent them here. I mean, this is what's happening with other countries. They don't have room for these kind of vermin in their countries either, so they're letting them have a free pass to get out of town and go to America. You can be a criminal there, and by the way, while you're there, tear it down and get rid of America and their ways of life. We don't like them because they make us look bad.
Yeah.
That's what's happening, and it's really sad that our politicians will not look at that and say, we just can't have any more of this. That was probably the number one thing of why people supported Trump in the beginning, is because he said, I will get rid of that. We will block them off from coming through. We'll have a wall, a big wall, a really big wall, and we will keep them from coming in, and we will not let these refugees come in till we know who they are.
Absolutely. We are down to the last 2 minutes, and caller, quickly, you're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Okay, Zeb, thanks. I'll try to make this the best I can. It's surprising to me that they send these criminals to the U.S. and they commit crimes here knowing that, they may end up doing life in prison, but life in prison is a piece of cake compared to hard life in their own countries, and I'll let you go on that.
That's a very good point. Very good point. Rita, respond to that. I agree with him on a lot of that thinking. Go ahead.
Well, it is a good point, and that's exactly right. The other thing is the cost. It costs us a fortune to have people in prison. We're having to pay for all of the stuff, whether they do hard labor or not. They have to feed them, and they don't want to feed them, and so they send them here, and they don't really care if they end up in prison or not. And it is a piece of cake comparatively, but it still costs us one heck of a lot of money.
Yeah, and
Americans are paying for it right out of their pocket.
And the thing I said a week ago with you on the program, and it's really the truth, I went to my refrigerator, and that gallon of the milk of human kindness is empty. I am more concerned about our citizens. I am more concerned about my family and my friends and my neighborhood, and I am not open heart right now to all these people that want to come in and do a disservice to my country and our billfolds.
And neither am I. I'm all for them coming in the correct way, being screened, knowing that they're going to be here and they're going to assimilate, and that we're not going to have them on our welfare rolls. Otherwise, stay there. We don't want them.
Rita, I've still got 13 subjects to go. What are we going to do? I'm out of time. What do we do?
Oh, my heavens. Who would know?
God bless you, Rita Ramsey. I certainly appreciate you being on the program this morning. Thank you so much.
Thanks. Goodbye.
All righty. Oh, my goodness. We had a lot more to talk about, and I just flat ran out of time. I want to remind you right now that if you're hungry, here at about 7 minutes till 10, and starving to death, I know some great places you can go. Yes, I do. Like the AC Drive-In, 601 East Main in Burley. You got to try the mint chip shake or I say that fast 5 times, I got thrown off the air. Mint chip shake or the mint Oreo shake with a chicken fried steak sandwich and fries and special sauce. Or try the famous Farmer Brown burger. Oh, it is delicious at the AC Drive-In, 601 East Main in Burley. Well, how about driving down to Taco Bandito, 2301 Overland in Burley? Have you tried to sink your grinners into that new pork burrito with beans and rice and sour cream and cheese and that is delicious. And you got to try one of their breakfast burritos, too. Scrambled eggs, bacon and sausage. Oh, cheese, onions, tomatoes, and sauce on a tortilla shell. Taco Bandito, 2301 Overland in Burley. Well, let's move over to Burgers, Etc. And they're located at 124 South Oneida in Rupert and 700 Overland in Burley. And did you know that they've got corn dogs and burritos only 99 cents after 3 o'clock in the afternoon? Well, get hungry. And along with that, all the delicious burgers. And every Sunday at the Burley store, shrimp dinner. Burgers, Etc. Oneida in Rupert and Overland in Burley. They're waiting to serve you. Well, how about Steve-O's at 290 South, 600 West of Hayburn? And they got a brand new salad. Have you tried that? It is fantabulous. Chicken breast salad with bacon and all the goodies, and the buffalo burgers, and different soups every day, and cupcakes. I love cupcakes. They've got cupcakes at Steve-O's, 290 South, 600 West of Hayburn. And last but not least, I'm drooling. I'm hungry. Doc's Pizza at 514 6th Street in Rupert. And did you know that they've got right now the take and bake pizzas? Yeah, they got them. You take them home and bake them in your own oven. And that is neat. And you know what? They've got all kinds of sub sandwiches and soups and salads. I'm telling you, you better just get on over and have yourself a treat at Doc's Pizza, 514 6th Street in Rupert. And those are just a few great places to go when you are hungry and starving to death. All right, here's the game plan. We're going to take a little break for the CBS News and let them mess up everything we've put together over the last couple hours. And then we'll be back, and we're going to have the Cassia County School Days, Business Salute, and then at 10:30, Liberal Millennial Jonathan Harris. That ought to be a wreck looking for a train track. Anyway, you stay tuned. Zeb at the Ranch. Don't go away. I'll be right back. Oh, good morning. It's chilly outside this morning. What have I got over here? Let's see. I got a blank screen right now. 37? Oh, that's hard on my old fat body. I'm not used to having it chill off like that. My goodness sakes, good morning. Zeb at the Ranch, and of course, I'm Zeb Bell, brought to you by our major sponsor, your Magic Valley. Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you, and of course, some of our great advertisers, including Western Waste Services, always at your disposal. Call them at 734-6969. You know, I've been very honored and blessed to have the folks with Autumn Haven Assisted Living Center on my program, and they're located at 924 Christian Way in Rupert. Now, write this number down. It's very important. And for your loved one possibly to be over there and be cared for in an assisted living facility that is absolutely first class. They've got a beautiful patio, and they hold outside barbecues, and they invite the public to visit their facility at any time, and they're so involved in the community, you know, being a part of community events and everything. Autumn Haven Assisted Living Center at 924 Christian Way in Rupert. Number to call, 436-3200. They're small compared to some, but with a bigger heart than most. Oh, my goodness. Oh, and by the way, too, don't forget Ag Express is looking for drivers. Yes, they are. Call Dale and Paul. Now, I want you to remember these numbers or write them down. I'm not going to say them just to take up time. There you go. Now, get your pencil. There you go. Call Dale and Paul at 438-8886. Allen in Twin Falls at 731-2495. And Russ in Burley at 431-7175. They're looking for full and part-time positions. And retired folks, hey, come on, they're looking for you, and home every night. Home every night. Great vacation plans and benefit programs. What are you waiting for? Ag Express is looking for drivers, and Ag Express is looking for you. Absolutely. Real quick, before we go to our Cassia County School Days, I want to remind everybody, like we were talking with Chris Fox the other minute, last hour, the Southern Idaho Women's Expo is going to be April 13th at the Best Western Burley Inn, sponsored by the Mini-Cassia Chamber of Commerce, Idaho Central Credit Union, and Idaho Housing and Finance. And I want you to remember that if you're a business in this area, boy, what a great place to advertise your business. If you want a booth space, call 679-4793. That number again, 679-4793 for the Southern Idaho Women's Expo, April 13th. At the Best Western Burley Inn. There you go. Right now, it is time for Cassia County School Days, and this segment is brought to you by two wonderful businesses, Ambulatory Surgery Center at 1344 Highland Avenue in Burley. The number to call, the number to remember, 677-8888 for your outpatient surgeries, whether it's colonoscopies, whether it's hand and foot and knee surgery, whatever. Please call them and see how they can save you money. Please, 677-8888, Ambulatory Surgery Center. Along with A Child's World, wonderful people that urge you to shop locally and save money. My goodness sakes, they've got all the cribs and the strollers for the children and the games and the books and the toys and all the Cherokee scrubs and the shoes. What are you waiting for? Get in the car and head on over there to A Child's World, 1308 Overland in Burley, along with the Ambulatory Surgery Center, bringing us now Cassia County School Days. There is a lady that is from Burley High School, and she is a social studies teacher, and I absolutely hold her in the highest regard because she is involved in starting a shooting club. And her name is Colleen Parkin, and I say, hello, Colleen, how are you?
Good morning, Zeb. I'm great. How are you doing?
Now, I understand you're way down south someplace while you're making this call. Is that right?
Well, we were supposed to be in Hurricane, but plans got changed when we looked at the weather forecast, and it was 4 days of 5 raining, and we thought we're not driving clear down to Hurricane to go shooting and four-wheeling. So actually, I'm currently in my classroom over at Burley High School working on grades, so I'm not too far.
Boy, that's not the nicest little trip in the world to be stuck in the classroom. But now I mean this when I'm saying this. I hold you and the concept of this shooting club in the highest regard for this reason. Everybody today wants to come out in the liberal media and they want to denigrate gun owners, they want to denigrate gun usage, they want to denigrate anything like shooting clubs, etc. And my take is the more knowledge, the more our youngsters know and understand about the safety with firearms, the better. And I salute you for what you're doing.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I enjoy shooting guns, and I've been shooting guns with my husband for quite a few years, and I've been teaching. This is my 27th year of teaching right now I'm at Burley High School. I've been with Cassia County the whole time, and I'm always telling kids, you know, how was your weekend? What'd you do? And vice versa. And I'm always saying, well, I went shooting this weekend, or I drove here and went shooting. And the kids are truly interested in it. And so I wanted to start it up again. Burley High School used to have a gun club, but I wanted to start it up again and start it up right. And safety is our very, very, very first mission. And then marksmanship and competition. I want these kids to
to enjoy the shooting sports. It's a lifelong sport.
Let me ask you this.
Forever.
Let me ask you this, Colleen. Is it Colleen or Colleen? I want to make sure I pronounce your name right.
It's Colleen, thank you.
All right. Colleen, let me ask you this. Has there been any negativity from the community? Has there been any negativity maybe from the region, the liberal do-gooders? Give us the honest appraisal, would you?
No, absolutely. Everything's been positive. I've talked to people about, I'm starting a shooting club at my high school, and everybody's been very positive. Oh, that's a great idea. I remember when I was in high school and we did hunter's education. I remember when I was in high school, we went shooting after school. Everybody's been positive. Not one person has come up to me and done the knee-jerk reaction of guns and kids are dangerous. I haven't heard that. I was kind of expecting it maybe, but I've been really lucky. People have been positive and have just kind of cheered me on and say, go girl. And good luck with your team.
Well, now tell me, what do you do? What do you teach them? I mean, give me an example of what they're doing in the shooting club.
Well, first of all, I didn't let them join the club until I knew that they actually on hand had their hunter's education little certificate. I didn't want this to be the first time they'd handled guns. And then before we ever went out to the gun club, we had 2 nights of safety night, where NSCA sent me a safety video DVD. We've run over PowerPoints, went over a safety test, like you would take hunter's ed, except, 10 times longer. To do this program, I'm under the umbrella of USAYESS. It's a youth education national shooting organization.
Right.
And to do this right, I had to go to Carson City, Nevada, take a 2-day clinic, and to be certified as an NRA coach level 1. So I had to jump these hoops to make sure that when I do something like this, these kids are going to be starting off right. They're going to have safety. We've covered all these components of, being on the range. In fact, every time that we get together, we do a little safety skill before we go out and we shoot on the post, trap, before we go out and shoot sporting plays. So I know I'm under a microscope. I know that people are going to wait for somebody to, slip and say, oh, that looks dangerous, or that could have been a disaster. So we are just doing baby steps. We're taking care of safety at the most, just it's high priority. I have 2 other coaches helping me that are both NSCA level 1 instructors. They're from the gun club, and they both volunteered their time, and they are helping me every single practice. That would be Nick Krause and Hector Parkins, my husband, because I twisted his arm. But anyway, so I've got coaches here helping me. I've actually got 5 adults with my team, to make sure that things are going smooth. They're scoring them. They're watching them, and it's been fun. It's really been a lot of fun. We have a couple shoots coming up that are against other teams, and look and see how well these kids compete. Past just going out and shooting traps. We're going to compete against some other teams.
All right. Now, Colleen, I've got some obvious questions. Number one, do you and does the club take all takers, all students, all ages, or is there some kind of a breakdown as to who's acceptable or not?
Well, Burley Trap Club is a public club, so anybody can come out and shoot there. My team this year, I've actually only opened it up to the high school team. I offered it to 9th grade, 10th grade, 11th, and 12th grade. I have 10 students, 10 team members. When you shoot on a club, there's no sitting on the bench. You practice, you shoot, everybody has to score. So there's no bench sitters in shooting trap. Everybody gets to score. But the association I'm a part of, the USAYESS, actually goes clear down to junior high up through college. My team right here at the high school is 10 because I didn't want to be overwhelmed with, a lot of young shooters. Raft River High School jumped in too with Heber Lockmiller being the coach, and he has high school and junior high students. So you're allowed through this association to go all the way down to like 6th grade, and then it's an association all the way through college.
I see.
It's part of a collegiate scholastic shooting program.
Okay. Now, Colleen, what about awards? What about competitions? What about national championships? I mean, is there a goal that you want to attain, or tell me a little bit about that?
Well, my goal for this year is that these kids just learn how to shoot safely and that they have fun. But these kids actually, we have a shoot in Twin Falls, a youth shoot that's going to be April 8th and 9th, and they'll be competing against Nevada teams, Utah teams, Boise teams. I just want them to have an introduction to shooting competition.
Uh-huh.
And then there's actually a Idaho State USAYS state competition in Boise at the Boise Black Dog Gun Club, and that's a Friday and a Saturday on Mother's Day weekend. Whether my kids place high or, just participate, I just want them to be introduced to it.
Absolutely.
Like, this is what competition's all about. This is how much fun it can be. You see all these other kids shooting, and it's a team sport. You're part of a program that, you can be in competition for the rest of your life. And that's what I want to introduce them to.
Okay, now let me ask you this question then, as far as the growth in popularity of this event. I mean, are you the only high school in this area, or are there others that want to imitate and emulate what you're doing? Tell us about that.
Well, actually, I'm the one that's imitating. I'm copying Twin Falls. Xavier Charter School has been doing this for about 4 or 5 years. There's a a private high school club in Twin Falls. I think they're called the Hot Shots. There's several teams in Boise. There is Coeur d'Alene High School Shooting Club. There's 40 kids in their high school, and that's basically I'm definitely not reinventing the wheel. I'm copying their safety exams. I'm following their league schedules, and I'm looking at what they're doing.
Let me ask you this question then, Colleen, in the time remaining. I've got about 2.5 minutes left. What about the kids? What about their attitudes? What about, have you seen any personality changes? Have you had any really great stories about these kids and their safety and their thinking? Have you got anything in that line you want to relate to us?
Well, I have to tell you, I have made this an athletic program, a school athletic program, so I told these kids, I says, if you have bad grades, we're in a league right now, so every week we turn our scores into Twin Falls for a league score. It says, if you have an F, your league score just went from, whatever out of 25 to a 0 out of 25. That means you shot. I'm not stopping them from shooting. I says, but your league score went from whatever you had to a 0. And for a couple of my trap team members, it definitely woke them up. They go, I'm not going to have that bad of a day. So it's kept them very alert on their grades. I've had some kids that didn't really care about school, and they're getting the grades in. So that's what's important. And last week when we were shooting, which was music to my ears, they go, can't we do another box? And I just thought that was so much fun. I mean, 3 boxes, 4 boxes was not enough. They said, look, can we shoot another box? So I was doing a happy dance going, these kids are having fun, and they enjoy being a part of this team, and I just hope it continues.
Oh, my goodness. Colleen, it's been so refreshing to talk to you about this subject this morning. You got to promise me that you're going to come back and visit with us in the future. I absolutely have enjoyed our conversation.
No problems. Anytime I give you guys, it's been fun. I love sharing this because I'm a Burley Trap Club cheerleader. I enjoy shooting out there. It's a lot of fun. It's a great club, and they have been so supportive out there. I mean, the men have been, they've helped me with this coaching team. The club itself has provided me targets nonstop, and so it's, and I'm thinking, well, these kids, if they get hooked on this shooting, we're open to the public 2 days a week. I'd just love to see them come out and enjoy our sporting facility.
Absolutely. Colleen Parkin from Burley High School, and she's a social studies teacher and just a really nice lady. Thank you so much with that new shooting club at Burley High School. Got to run, but God bless you. Welcome back anytime.
Thank you, Zeb.
All right, take care. That is refreshing to me. Really refreshing to me to hear that, and especially from a lady's point of view. And Colleen Parkin, I take my resistol off to you and salute you for a job well done. Thank you very much. Brought to you by, of course, our Cassia County School Days and our sponsors, Ambulatory Surgery Center and A Child's World. Thank you very much. Hey, by the way, Redder Showcase, 2611 Overland and Burley. The annual March Madness sale is going on right now at Redder's. Yeah, buddy, you better get in there, and you'll find great bargains on appliances and furniture, and Serta mattresses are on sale. Oh, my goodness. 12 months, same as cash. You can't beat that deal. And don't forget, on Saturday, April 1st, be ready for the annual shootout. $5,000 worth of prizes? Better get in there. Find out what the shootout is and sign up today at Redder's Showcase, 2611 Overland in Burley. Let's go to the phone line right now for our business salute, and lo and behold, we have Mr. Lyden Crane with Phillips Oaks Goodwin Crane and Company CPAs. Good morning, Lyden. How are you?
Good, Zeb. How are you doing this morning?
I thought for a minute that we didn't have you on the air. God bless you for taking the time, and believe me when I say this, taking the time at this time of the year to come on the radio and talk for a few minutes, because I would imagine as a CPA, you are up to your neck in alligators trying to get everything done before April 15th.
Yeah, I think the alligators ate me. I'm far below that. So, no, it's a good little break to come on and talk to you for a minute.
Well, tell everybody while we have the chance, Lyden, a little bit about your accounting, your CPA firm, one of the oldest and best in the Mini-Cash area. Tell us about some of the services that you offer over there.
This time of year, we're, like you said, really busy with doing tax returns. That's definitely our specialty. We help all kinds of businesses and individuals prepare their tax returns and file those with the IRS and with the state of Idaho. We also do financial statement preparation and business consulting, and help people file payroll and pay their employees each paycheck and pay period. And those are just some of the basics that we offer and do every day.
Well, now, when you say every day, so basically you're not just a seasonal type CPA firm to the point where you worry about the taxes on April 15th. You're basically working with farms and ranches and businesses every single day of the work week with kind of a business consulting business. Is that correct?
That is correct. We do stay busy all year long. This is definitely our most busy time, but there's always tax returns that need to be filed, and helping people with their payroll, which can be paid weekly or biweekly, sometimes once a month, and we help and do those things all year long to keep in compliance with all the rules that the IRS and the state have for us.
Now, that was my next question. How does anyone involved in taxes, like yourself, Phillips Oaks Goodwin Crane and Company, how do you keep up with all the new or adjusting rules and regulations? You must stay up 24/7 just reading the books.
Well, not quite. The state does ask us to take classes throughout the year and keep our education current. With that, we do get a lot of ability to choose what we want to learn, and we try to go to classes that are specific to our clients. We attend a lot of classes that focus on ag and businesses such as partnerships and corporations, and trying to learn tax strategies to help them. Another class that's been very useful for me and several other of the CPAs in my office has been on retirement planning and trying to help people understand how to use retirement vehicles such as individual investment accounts or Social Security to their benefit, and make sure that they've got a plan for that so they don't get to that point and realize they've done something wrong. So we
No, I was afraid that might happen this morning on cell phones, and we lost Leiden. And Wheels, what happened? Did his phone go off, or did we have problems at the station?
No, we didn't have any problems at the station. I think his phone just cut out from it being a cell phone, so I'm hoping that he'll be able to call in.
Okay, I'll tell you what, I'll do a quick commercial and let me know immediately if he calls back in. Would you please, Leiden Crane,
yes,
with Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane and Company. And cell phones sometimes do that. They just, boop, and they're gone. Hey, don't forget the Great Big Spring Open House. Great big sale starting tomorrow at Mad River Laser, 502 East Street in Rupert. Oh, my goodness, it's going to last all the way till the 31st. The entire gift shop is on sale. I love this store. They do a wonderful job over at Mad River Laser, and you can stop in and ask them about free engraving and free embroidery and door prizes during the spring open house. Don't forget, great big sale starts tomorrow at Mad River Laser in Rupert, right on the square. You stop over and say hello. Let's go back over to Wheels and see if we've got him back on the line.
I do have him on the phone for you.
Boy, all of a sudden your cell phone went zip and you were gone, Leiden, and we were talking about all the benefits that you can provide to our populace. Let me ask you this question real quick, and then I've got to run. This time of the year, there's probably a lot of people that have put it off, like myself, and tax day's right around the corner, April 15th. What would you tell folks?
Well, I would tell them it's possible to get your stuff into your preparer as soon as possible so that they can try to get that done. There is the option to also extend your tax return, and that's something that a lot of people don't know about. If you do not owe any money to the IRS, if you typically get a refund, you can file for an extension of time to file, and the IRS just automatically will grant you that, and that will extend the time to October 15th for an individual to file their tax return. So if you've had, if a health issue came up, or you've just been underwater with all the crazy weather we've been having and haven't had a chance to get it all together, it is okay to ask your CPA if you're allowed to file an extension, and that just takes a little bit of pressure off of us too to say we'll get to that a little bit later in the year.
I want to say I wished I had more time to visit with you. I know you're extremely busy, but what a great accounting firm. Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane and Company, serving the Mini-Cash area for well over 50 years. Leiden Crane, very fluent in Spanish and can offer any of the services in Spanish. He's on the air with us right now. And besides that, he's a really nice guy. Leiden, thank you for being on the program this morning.
Thank you very much, Seb. It was great to be there.
All right, sir. Take care of yourself. Thank you. And with that, we're going to quickly send it over to our main studios for a break and then come back with our last half hour in just a few moments. You stay tuned.
And now, back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb Bell.
I have not had the chance to find out more about this gentleman that's on our program next for this last half hour, but I'm very interested to see if his politics and his worldviews are going to possibly be compatible with mine. And I'd like to introduce Jonathan Harris, columnist and frequent left-of-center commentator. Good morning, Jonathan. How are you?
Good morning, Zeb. How are you? I'm well.
I'm doing very well myself, thank you, even though our weather's kind of taken a turn for the being colder up here in southern Idaho. Jonathan, give me a little background about yourself. I know nothing about you, and I'd like to learn more.
Well, I am a liberal columnist. I've been a columnist for about 7 years. I've been on doing political talk shows for about 3 years now, a little over 3 years now. I've appeared on our local NBC affiliate out here in San Diego, where I'm a columnist. I've guest hosted the Young Turks a couple of times last year during the political campaigns. I've been on multiple shows on One American News, on Newsmax. I'm usually whenever they need a liberal counterbalance. So like, hey, you can come on. I think the Young Turks is probably the only liberal show I've done. Every other show I'm usually on a conservative show as a as a liberal.
I've got a feeling that our conversation this morning could evolve into an original format of like Hannity and Combs. That's what I think it might be.
Probably.
Let me ask you this, Jonathan, first and foremost, and I'm an avowed right-wing conservative and proud of it. I'm very conservative, living in a rural area. I look at what's going on in the world today with the young generation, with not all, but many of the millennials that have an idea and an attitude that they don't want to work, they don't want to be responsible for their activities, they don't want to take responsibility for trying to improve things for the future. And I'm going to say this, and I want you to correct me in your thinking, but a lot of the millennials are just a dead weight on society today. What are your thoughts?
Well, as a millennial, I do sort of take issue with that. I think it's been, I think that's been a mischaracterization that's been perpetuated. And I've seen it actually in pretty mainstream places. Articles. I was watching a guy sit down and kind of give this litany of remarks about all the terrible things about millennials, and I don't think that's true. I think what's happening is millennials have come of age at a very interesting time, which is, we are coming of age at a time where all the things that we were promised, we're realizing were BS. And we came to age, we did our part. We went to school, we paid exorbitant amounts of money for our college educations, and we did our part. And you guys, the older generations, were supposed to hand us an economy that rewarded our work, and you didn't. And so what we had to do is we had to reassess everything. We had to say, look, we're watching our parents and our grandparents, struggling in many instances, struggling financially with what they were told was going to be a deal, which was the deal that they were given. If they went to school and they worked hard, that they wouldn't be struggling in their older age, in their age group. And we were told we were going to have a healthy economy if we just went to school and we applied ourselves. We would come out, and instead what we're coming out to is record debt and, not having jobs. And so I think what's happening is we're just going, all right, hold on. We need to shift some stuff. Is it worth us working ourselves to death if we're just going to end up, in our 50s and 60s and 70s struggling financially, or should we maybe wait and say, okay, hold on, like, what should we do going forward? How should we handle our own lives since we're seeing this promise actually turn out to be a lie? And I think that's what you're seeing, and it's not a refusal to apply ourselves and be dead weight. It's just we're looking and we're seeing, like, what we were told is going to be the case not only turned out to be a lie for us, it in many instances turned out to be a lie for you guys as well, older generations.
Yeah, but let's be really frank on some issue here, Jonathan, is that what might be a promise has to be assumed by hard work and your own personal responsibility. In other words, my grandparents that came here from Germany, they didn't have any promises. They didn't have anything but hard work and the sweat from their brow to be successful and raise my father and his brothers and sisters, and then in turn my father raising me. I didn't have a silver spoon given into my hand that would dip into the jelly in the refrigerator that would automatically be there without putting forth any personal responsibility. And this is the problem I see today, and I stress, not all, but many of the millennials today, they want too much of a hand us something, using your words, and that's what I'm against.
I understand. I completely understand the logic of what you're saying, and I understand that maybe in your personal experience that's the case, and that's absolutely valid. I'm even trying to keep sort of my personal experience with it out of it and kind of pan the camera back and just look at the larger picture. My generation, the millennial generation, is actually the most educated generation that there has been in American history. If I've got that correct, which I think I do, I'm 99% sure that's the statistic, which is we are the most educated, so we have applied ourselves. It's not that we just sat around and all dropped out of high school, none of us went to college, kind of thing. We did our part. We weren't looking for a handout. We said, okay, look, is that what we need to do? Okay, we need to go to school. That's what we were told all throughout. When I was growing up, it was stay in school and so on and so forth. So we did. We stayed in school, and your generation's part of the deal was to keep our economy intact, not elect people like, George W. Bush, who, quite frankly, if I can just be completely honest, took a very healthy Clinton economy and destroyed it. And we came of age in the aftermath of the Bush economy, and you know, but again, like I said, I want to stress, we did our part. We applied ourselves, went to school, and came out to, you know, you guys not keeping your end of the bargain. So I obviously not you personally, but I mean just as a broader generation, you know, you guys not keeping, you know, elected officials. I mean, we don't run government. You guys do.
Why don't we sit down?
We don't control. You know, we aren't president. That's not our generation. We're just coming out and trying to start our careers, and you guys handed us a destroyed economy. And so what we had to do is figure out, okay, what do we do with this mountain of debt that we now have, because we thought we should go to school and educate ourselves and better ourselves. What do we do with this mountain of debt that we have, and you know, no economy to come out to get rid of that debt? Many of us stayed in school, and many of us took really crummy jobs with no pensions, no very bad, you know, limited benefits, just to start to pay off our debt. So I think there's a lot of, I mean, if we're applying blame and responsibility, I think there's certainly a large amount of blame that goes to, you know, older generations for not holding, you know, political representatives accountable and keeping the economy healthy for the generation that's coming afterwards. And in many instances, I mean, not to be terribly partisan, but that's a Republican thing. Liberals, Clinton's economy was the healthiest economy we've had in quite some time, and that is a liberal economy. Bush tanked to that economy. Obama, another liberal, came on, and that handed us, again, the healthiest economy we've had since our last Democrat, and the longest streak of private sector job growth in the history of the country. So,
now, wait, whoa. Jonathan, be good, be kind, because you're not giving me any airspace on my own program, and I've got a chance to jump in here. I mean, it's great to ramble on, but not on my show. I want to make some inserts here. Number one, let's not forget probably one of the best economic makers, if you will, Ronald Reagan, and he took over from Democrats and led Democrats down the path to where our economy was the best it's probably ever been. So don't denigrate all Republicans and all conservatives. And Obama cost a lot of us almost our businesses, almost our future, due to the fact that Social Security was robbed from many times during his administration. Obamacare is a bust and a fiasco. They wanted to cover 30 million people in this country, and they ended up with a lot of people going without insurance because of the extreme costs and the high rates. So, I mean, there's negatives and pros and positives in every administration. But I don't want to hear that just all of a sudden Obama and Clinton were the knights in shining armor, because they weren't.
Well, I'm not saying they were knights in shining armor, but I am saying that our economy, the healthiest it's been in my lifetime, was under those two presidents. So
well, how old are you?
Referring specifically to millennials, I'm saying that is the healthiest the economy has been in my lifetime is under two Democrats, and the worst that it has been was under George W. Bush, which is, like I said, when most of us, we either came of age, turned 18, went into college, or came of age in the sort of aftermath of that.
What I would like to address to you,
I mean, also Reagan, I mean, for the things that he did well, he also quadrupled the deficit as well, quadrupled the debt as well. So, and President Obama, for whatever you can say about the Affordable Care Act, it has, you know, more people insured than have ever been insured in the history of this country, and the Republican response is to rob 24 million people of their health insurance. So, you know, there is getting bad.
But, you know, I wish we had longer time on this, Jonathan, but there again, you're looking at it, I think, from a socialistic point of view. Why should the government be involved in actually providing insurance, health insurance at all? I'm of the volition that people have to have their own responsibility and go back to the times when people got up in the morning with an alarm clock to go to work, whatever that job might be, and they were buying the things that they could afford, and I don't want the government, Big Brother, to be in charge of saying, you have to buy this or else you'll be penalized. That's a socialistic society that I don't want to live in.
We've always lived in a balance of socialism and capitalism. I mean, the reality is the Supreme Court upheld the Affordable Care Act as a tax, and we don't get a choice in the taxes that we pay. We just pay them, and the government does what they will with those taxes.
We have a caller with a question. When you hear the moo of a cow on my program, you're going to have somebody on the other end of the line. Caller, quickly, we've got about 6 minutes left in this segment. Go ahead, please.
Okay, I'll make it quick. I have two comments. If Bill Clinton had not had a Republican House, Newt Gingrich, we wouldn't have had the prosperity we did under Bill Clinton.
Good point.
Also, if Obama or Bill Clinton had had a 9/11, they probably would have been in the same shape George W. Bush was.
That's an excellent point, and one that I wished I would have made a moment ago, because you got to admit that George Bush II came out with a horrendous happening of 9/11, and quite frankly, I felt much more comfortable and secure with George Bush as president than I have with Obama over the last 8 years, and the lack of security and the lack of fear from other nations to us out of the form of respect. I thought George Bush did a fine job on that, and I'd like to hear your response.
Well, I think to say that you felt safer under a president that oversaw the worst terrorist attack in the history of our country, but not safer under a president where that did not happen, is an interesting viewpoint. I don't know what to say. I mean, I can say for me that doesn't. I don't understand it, but I mean, I can definitely say that. One could argue that if Obama had a 9/11, it would be because of his leadership.
Oh, no, whoa, wait a minute, Jonathan. That's not fair to assume. Wait a minute. That's not, Jonathan, just a minute.
That's a reasonable argument.
Wait a minute. You're making a case like some of the real radical liberals have made that 9/11 was a perpetration of perhaps the Bush administration. And that's the intimation that I don't want to make.
I'm not saying that.
Well, you said that it was safer when Obama took over and those things didn't happen. You know, I think that's not a fair assumption whatsoever. I think some of the safeguards that were put in place by the Bush administration for our nation's security and security at our bases around the world was something that Obama should have kept up. I think the respect from nations when Obama was in office was much, much less. He was basically looked at as a wilting flower that wouldn't do anything. And I'm not really here to discuss the goods, the bads, the pros, and the cons of Obama, but what I am saying is about the millennial generation. They haven't had to suffer. They haven't had to do anything. They haven't had to have the responsibility. Will they be responsible? Will your generation get involved and try to make this country better instead of trying to tear it apart?
Well, again, I think we are doing just that. But like I said, we are coming of age at a time where your generation, an older generation did not keep their promise and didn't keep their responsibility. And so we don't have, many generations prior to us were buying homes by the time they were, the ages that certain millennials are. They were starting families, and we have not been able to do those things because of the economy that you handed us. You control the House, you control the Senate, you control the White House. We're not present there, and so you handed us an economy on life support, and then are trying to suggest that we are wrong because we are reserved in some of the things that we're doing in terms of starting families, wanting to just dive into 30, 40-year careers when we're watching not only the economy that you handed us, but we're also watching many of your generation struggle with the promises that you believe. So,
yeah, but how can you justify that?
We're just being more careful. A lot of us, studies are showing that we're moving jobs in a much different way than previous generations. We're jumping from job to job. We're not starting families. We're taking time to travel because we're realizing that that's not that's what we have to do.
Okay, whoa, wait a minute. How can you justify that and still sit there and look at the news like what happened in Berkeley when they shouted down and denounced an open forum of thought on conservative speakers coming onto the campus, and they went outside and they... Pardon me?
Are you referring to Milo?
I'm talking about millennials at Berkeley that went out and burned and destroyed because they didn't want an opposing conservative viewpoint given at a college at USC in Berkeley. And this is the point.
If you're referring to Milo Yiannopoulos going to speak and the protests against him speaking, I think that has less to do with the fact that he's a conservative and more to do with the...
No. I'm talking about any of them. Any of them. Wait a minute, please. I'm talking about any transition of thought from liberalization. You folks on the left absolutely want to have just tunnel vision. You don't want to listen to conservative thought. There are numerous cases and verses across the country that have had conservative speakers come onto their college campuses and be shouted down and denounced by the millennials because they want to listen to it. This morning, St. Olaf College in Minnesota, they had a speaker on the air that was the head of the conservatives back at St. Olaf, and they were being spat on. They were being cursed. They had death threats from the liberals at that school saying, conservative is not the way to go. This is not the way to live. We've got to figure out a way how your generation can be a responsible part of trying to help grow this country, not tear it apart.
I understand what you're saying, and I don't disagree with, look, it should never come to a point where people are, being violent. Well, in general. This country's founded on incredible acts of violence, but, for the most part, we shouldn't be, people shouldn't be violent. We shouldn't, people shouldn't be being spat on and things like that. But I think it's very reasonable to understand that on a campus where higher education is the focus and where facts are the focus, not alternative facts, but actual facts are the focus, that people don't want to hear from a party that in many instances, that's what Donald Trump is, has embraced hatred, has embraced sexism, has embraced racism. They don't want to hear it. There's no point. Look, we can have a conversation about the role of government, sure, if that's the argument, but this new wave of conservatism, which is really shameful. I'm no fan of Ronald Reagan, but I don't even think Ronald Reagan would have been a fan of the kind of hateful rhetoric that Donald Trump used out on the campaign trail. And the Republican Party identified and lined up in lockstep with that rhetoric. And why on earth would that be embraced on a college campus where inclusiveness and education are the focus?
Yeah, but wait a minute. When you talk about inclusive, wait a minute, young man. Wait a minute, Jonathan.
Their religion and by their
Jonathan. You've got to give me a break to get in here, and I'm running out of time. When you say that, inclusiveness, you folks aren't being inclusive. You're not listening to the other side. You're blaming and you're condemning the right, or you're condemning conservatives, and you haven't had a chance to really sit down and analyze what's being said. You have tunnel vision, and you're saying it's our way or the highway, or we will shut you out. And that has been proven at major colleges and events all across this country. Look at what's going on with the anti-Trump rallies. They step in the street and they knock down elderly people that were wearing caps that said, "Make America Great Again." My goodness, how do you justify that kind of violence against elderly people?
I guess the same way that the right justified all the violence and hate at Donald Trump rallies, where you had people yelling, "Go build my wall, make me a taco."
No, that's not true, and you know it.
An older Caucasian man who sucker punched an African American man in the face at a Donald Trump rally when he was leaving. That violence occurs on both sides, but again, I think that the rhetoric and the hate, and we're going to call it what it is. At least that's one thing I like that our generation does, is we don't kind of pussyfoot around the names of what it is. It's hate. That has been embraced by the Trump demographic, and they don't want it on their college campuses. And I think that's great. I think that's fantastic. It shows progress in America.
No, it doesn't at all, because it shows a complete tunnel vision approach to not accepting reality. I wish I had more time. You've got to come back. We'll have another debate. Jonathan Harris, thank you very much for being on the show.
Thank you.
Thank you. I got to calm down and get my blood pressure under control. I really want to get him back on the air, and we will in the future, and talk about, he made one statement that I want to have more conversation on. He said this country was founded upon acts of violence. That is one issue that I'm going to take up with him the next time I have him on the program. I got to get a weather forecast in here. I'm running late, and it's brought to you by Scarrows Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. The number to call, 324-7657. And they are changing the way we eat, one delicious bite at a time at Scarrows Meats. Don't forget, they've got that buckboard bacon, leaner and more economical than traditional bacon. You're going to love it. Here's Gina with the weather.
We are still in enough. Flood watch is going to be in effect through this afternoon, and wind is going to be a factor for today. So here is your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch. Wind out of the west right around 20 miles an hour. We are expecting some partly cloudy skies for today. High 54 tonight, low of 32. Tomorrow the winds will continue. They're dying down to about 13 miles an hour out of the south. Partly cloudy skies, high of 60, overnight low of 41. Pretty much the same for Saturday, still going to be on the windy side. Partly to mostly cloudy skies, high of 55, overnight low of 33. As we make our way into Sunday, mostly sunny skies, close to 60 with an overnight low in the low 40s. And then for Monday, we do have a 70% chance of rain showers in the forecast, mostly cloudy skies, and a high of 53. That is your weather for Zeb at the Ranch.
And brought to you by our dear friend Don Scarrow and the rest of the crew at Scarrow's Meats. 331 North Road, Jerome, 324-7657. Changing the way we eat, one delicious bite at a time. The problem, the problem we have on this program sometimes is when we have people on a phone call, they can't hear sometimes me when I'm trying to insert a question or a statement, and they just keep rambling on and on. That's why I had to call and correct the man and just say, hey, wait a minute, give me a break, don't ramble. I won't take that on my program. If it's going to be a two-way conversation, you're not going to ramble on this show. Don't forget your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Center's big spring tire sale. My goodness sakes, they've got all the tires for all the vehicles, all the different driving conditions, and they've got the Thunder City R202 for your cars, all-season traction, affordable pricing, starting at just $39.99. You better get in there and check that out today at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, with the best in brake service, front-end alignment, shocks and struts, batteries, oh my goodness, but above all, the service. They really take care of you. Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family and Paul, Daniel on Poline in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland and Burley, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. You know, to sum up, having Jonathan Harris on the air, it basically infuriated me because everything is my generation's fault. Did you notice that? Well, you promised us. Those are the words. You handed us. You made promises. You didn't meet your promises to us. Wait a minute. Nobody promised me a rose garden like the old Lynn Anderson show, or song, I should say. And most all of us had to go out and bust our tail to make sure that we made a living to feed our kids, pay our bills, and keep a job, which is something the millennials had better learn, how to keep a job, pay the bills, and be somebody instead of deadbeats and derelicts on our society. I'm not saying all, but I am saying many. We're going to take off tomorrow, Friday, and be back Monday at 8:06. Got to take a blood pressure pill? We'll be ready to go. Zeb at the Ranch, where we always say the way things were are the way things ought to be. Talk to you later.